Hello and welcome to my first look at the Warhammer 40,000 8th edition chapter approved. It says the 2017 edition. I spoke to the head guy that does all the codexes at the open day event last weekend, who I might add has contributed to the completion of about 10 codexes in 4 months, which is incredible. Good work, sir, and the team, just because that is a tremendous amount of books that they've overhauled, and I couldn't ask for any more. I know a lot of people are still waiting for their Blood Angels Codex, which is out next weekend. The Dark Angels is the weekend after, and then Chaos Demons is in January. We've still got, of course, Tau and Necrons, Orcs, which I'm really looking forward to, the Dark Eldar, or the Drukhari. I think they'll probably put on the Codex front. But in the meantime, they brought out the chapter approved. Firstly, I'll say that this book will cost you £20. It's a good chunk of a book. I would have preferred it in hardback though, seeing as this will have to last you a year. I know that they're trying to theme it in with the indexes, and in a way it sort of is getting you to buy all the indexes. If you collect a lot of armies and you've got, you know, 10 codexes, 10 of the new 8th edition codexes, this is going to start to look a bit odd on your shelf. I really hope they do 2018 in a hardback for this number of pages and the thickness of the book, because it's always a good idea to have any kind of rule book or codex or anything like that hardback, because the pages stay open. That's my biggest, not because it's more expensive. And he even said that, which I was quite surprised, considering that they have been releasing all of the codexes, not only in hardback, but limited editions and collector's editions and all kinds of things. Even their novels, they're pushing a lot of the hardback novels for £20 minimum, or £40 for the limited editions, you know, the limited number of copies and things like that. So I was quite taken aback by that his words were that he didn't want to charge people an extra sort of £5 or £10 to have it in hardback. I don't think they actually understand that a lot of people in the community can't get over the fact that they're having to pay for like a rules update. Hopefully they'll get back on me when they realise that a lot of people already have an issue with Games Workshop charging people for kind of updates and fixes to their rules and things. Once they're over that hurdle and they understand that, then they can maybe take that view that they don't think people are prepared to pay £5 or £10 more for the chapter approved book. People aren't prepared to pay sort of £20 for a rules update book or a rules tweak book a year, let alone an extra £5 or £10. So there are two solutions to this, because otherwise I'd just be whining. One is that you release it in hardback. You know, it's not a small tome. It's over 100 pages. I think it's 120. Yeah, 120. Tyranid Codex was 120. There are other codexes that have been less than this. The Imperial Knights Codex, I'm looking at you, that was what, 70 pages if that, I think, or probably less. That was hardback. If you're asking people to spend money on like a rules update, tweaking of the rules, extra missions and things like that, if you're asking people to spend money on that rather than release it as a PDF or free download or anything like that, then it's not going to do you much more harm to ask for a bit more money and have it in hardback. That's my opinion on the whole matter. There's two solutions, like I say. One, have it in hardback and charge £5, £10 more. Or two, go the other route and release all of this completely for free. One of the reasons why they weren't going to release these tweaks and things like that for free as a free download wasn't because they want to get even more money out of you. Yeah, they are a business and they do want to make money, and they are making a lot of money right now, but I kind of understand their explanation in that if they were going to release free downloads for tweaks of existing rules and things, a lot of that is based on community feedback, and there are a lot of people in the community that have their favourite army, favourite faction, and are very, very biased. So to cut all of that out, I think this is a good idea, because they can all sit down as the rules designers and look at the feedback that they're getting from clubs, from stores, from individuals, and have a meaningful, productive debate on what rules are broken, what work, what tweaks that they need to do, and it's all in one tome every year, which is a good idea, because If you're going to be tweaking the game and there's going to be FAQs every month or something like that, that's very disjointed. It's not smooth, it's more complicated than it needs to be. You're going to play a game, oh, I brought my Codex, okay, I'm doing this rule, or I'm choosing this army or whatever. Oh yeah, well you can't do that because of the FAQ from last week. Okay, you know, see where I'm coming from. It's like, oh well, now we have to go to the internet, find a PDF, download it, work on those rules. It doesn't suit it, that fast-paced changing. This isn't a video game where you have a patch that can be easily rolled out and it's rolled out to everybody. Not everybody has that access or the time to research it all and make a conscious effort of keeping up with all the rules. So for the majority of people, I think this is a good idea. I think releasing this sort of tweak to the rules and also adding missions and different ways to play and extra sort of units, I think this is a good idea. However, like I say, the thing I would change it to is I don't think I'd have this format in terms of the look of the book. It looks like the indexes, and people already associate the indexes with old rules because there's a lot of things that are changed in the indexes compared to the codexes, and that was only in a few months. So I would get rid of this. I would change it to the Warhammer 40,000 rulebook type looking book. I'd change the font and stuff, and I'd have it hardback. But that's just my opinion. You know, you may think that this works brilliantly as a softback, but when you're thinking about setting up a game and you select one, you see what I mean? Like it just doesn't work for rule books and things. And you know, you want to keep the book open. You want a page keeper too. You know, you want to keep the page open. Look at the criteria. Get all the models out. Keep it open while you're getting your models out and stuff. But maybe I'm nitpicking. Either way, this book will cost you £20 and we're going to go through it kind of page by page, just to give you like a feel for what's included in the book. And there's a fair bit of content in here. So inside you will find rules for open play games, from missions allowing you to play apocalyptic wars that consume entire armies to customizable datasheets for your converted models, narrative play rules including planet strike missions that tell the tale of planetary invasion and stronghold assault missions that depict high impact siege warfare. A toolbox for match play games including missions, stratagems, abilities, warlord traits and relics, and tips for making your own objective markers. An appendix of useful resources, additional rules and updated points values. So you've got updated points values in here as well. Let's have a look. So it kicks off with an introduction. It's saying that it's your passport to new gaming experiences in the 41st millennium. To make full use of the contents in this book, you'll need the Warhammer 40K rulebook. Ways to play: open play, narrative, match play and more. Open play. Apocalypse. So it introduces apocalypse battles. Unleash the apocalypse. So you've got apocalyptic armies and sides, warlords and warmasters, an apocalyptic battlefield, and then it even gives you a schedule of when to eat. Arrive and deploy at 9, start the first session at 10, it gives you an hour to deploy. 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock you have a lunch break, so you have a whole hour for lunch. Wow. Then your next session is 3.5 hours, then you have a dinner break, only for half an hour. You get less time to eat your dinner than you do for your lunch, so be wary of that. And then you start your third session at 6 o'clock and you finish at 9. So it's a 9 till 9 kind of day. That's a long day. That is a very, very long day. But there we go. Organising the apocalypse. And then you've got some missions. So apocalyptic war, race to destruction. Night march. Exterminatus. Beyond the apocalypse. And then land raiders. So this is one of the new things that they've introduced for open play. So you've got the rules here for the Terminus Ultra, which has all the las cannons and things. This has been around for many, many years. I remember when I got this tank, probably over 9 years ago or so. That's when it first came out for a limited time. I think they're selling the sprue separately now, so if you want to get that and equip your Land Raider with lots of las cannons, you can do. It's got 2 las cannons and 3 twin las cannons, and a twin las cannon is 2 shots obviously. And it tells you how to add or subtract weapons and what that does to the troop capacity, which is quite interesting. You've got the Wrath of Jalnar, which is a Space Wolf Land Raider, the Angel Infernus. People were wondering where that is, but you can pretty much make that out of a Bile Predator and a Redeemer. It just has the Bile Predator's flamers. Maybe they'll release the sprue at some point. The Terminus Aggressor, so huge Dakar Land Raider here. You've got your assault cannons, a storm bolter, 2 heavy bolters, and then you've got your hurricane bolters as well. So we're looking at 32 shots there with the storm bolter, but you have to pay for the storm bolter separately. 33 shots with the multi-melter if you want to have that on there as well. And then a chaos one, which they thought so heretical that they didn't even include a picture. I think there are pictures around of it though, but pretty much you can give it Reaper autocannons. It's got a Reaper autocannon, 2 heavy bolters and 2 twin las cannons. I don't know where the Reaper autocannon goes because it says you only get 1. It'd be nice if it had 2 Reaper autocannons, like 2 twin Reaper autocannons, and then Reaper autocannons, and then Reaper autocannons in the hull. But I guess their imagination isn't as far-fetched as mine. Narrative play. So you got Planet Strike, Warlord traits and detachments, stratagems, and then you've got some missions for Planet Strike. So Planet Fall, Desperate Assault, Seize and Destroy, Stranglehold, Forlorn Hope, Planet Quake, Planet Strike deployments, Stronghold Assault, Warlord traits and detachments and stratagems, and then you've got some missions. So you've got Breakthrough, Bunker Assault, All Out Attack, Crossfire, Big Push, Last Stand, and linear campaigns. What's also included, which is great, is all the 8th edition rules for the data sheets for all the scenery. So you've got the Aegis defense line, still has the Icarus las cannon, which is a one-shot weapon, but it's a range of 96 inches. The quad guns are 8 shots. It's got a save of 4+ and a toughness 7, 3 wounds. Bastions have 20 wounds and they've got a save of 3+. Defense lines, bunkers have a 3+ save and they've got 12 wounds, and you can put a Icarus las cannon or quad gun on there. That's pretty decent. Power level 5. That's quite a cheap way of getting a toughness 8, 12 wound, 3+ save model that does 8 shots against flyers. That's pretty much all you'll need, really. Vengeance weapon batteries, plasma obliterator. Baffles me because they haven't got the model out or available. They had it for a limited time. It sold out very quickly. They really should pull their finger out and release that now that this is out, because a lot of people may get this and go, plasma obliterator, right, shut up and take my money. Oh, okay, well you can't because you don't have the model out anymore, but I really hope they bring that model back soon. Firestorm Redoubt, hope I'm saying that correctly. That's the one with these with the quad las cannons, but what they've done now is they've tweaked it so you can put the Punisher Gatling cannons on and the battle cannons, which is what I sort of did in my unboxing and review of that Firestorm Redoubt. I just grabbed them and put them on here and said, oh well, why can't you just put them on the Firestorm? But anyway, that's got 20 wounds, that Firestorm, and you can put 20 models in there, any number of infantry characters and 1 other infantry unit. Macro cannon Aquila Strongpoint. So they haven't called it a macro weapon. Macro weapons feature in the Forge World Index books in the Titan sections, even in the Bio-Titan section 2. Even though it's called an Aquila macro cannon, it's not actually a macro weapon. So it's odd because the Quake Shell is a 180-inch range weapon, which is silly. But it's not a macro weapon, even though it's a macro cannon. Macro weapons are normally the Titan weapons, but it'd be cool if they had made that a macro weapon. The Vortex missile Aquila Strongpoint, Void Shield Generator. You get the 5+ invulnerable saves, wholly within 6 inches, which isn't a huge bubble at all, really. Sky Shield Landing Pad. You get a 5+ invulnerable if they're on the top, and it's shielded. And then matched play. So this lovely artwork with Magnus and Rabute Gilliman. New battlefronts, so more missions. You've got some Eternal War and Maelstrom of War. So Eternal War, you've got Frontline Warfare, Resupply Drop, Scorched Earth, Dominate and Destroy, and Ascension and Roving Patrol. And then Maelstrom of War, you've got Kill Confirmed, Targets of Opportunity, Tactical Gambit, Race to Victory, Sealed Orders, Recon, And then we're on to objective markers. So there's a little piece about here about bases, numbering, all the little tactical objectives, because there have been a few bits and pieces that have come out that you can use for objectives recently. Look at all these, look. And then here with the bases, and then vital supplies. And then look, more objective markers using components from Chaos parts, and obviously definitely the skull box set as well. Necron objective markers, they look pretty cool. Tyranid ones, it's just a Tyrannofex acid spray that's upright, it seems, and then you've got like a couple of termagants breaching out, and then Ripper swarms, obviously. Oh, I've forgotten what they're called, the little pod things that Gene Stealers burst out of, and this has just got an adrenal gland in the middle of a load of claws, which looks awesome. Tau and Orc ones look awesome, like even off the back of like a Gorkanaut or whatever. Faction rules, here we go. So this is probably one of the main reasons you'll get it, because it's kind of an update and a bit of a tease really for the upcoming codexes. So they want to give you something to carry on playing with these armies before their codexes come out. So you've got Adeptus Sororitas. This seems to me that they will be releasing Adeptus Sororitas at some point, but you've got some relics, some warlord traits, and so on. Then you've got Deathwatch, Drakari, or Dark Eldar, Gene Stealer cults, Harlequins, Imperial Knights, and then you can add a Knight Seneschal, add 1 to this warlord's attacks characteristic. Necrons, Orcs, Space Wolves, Tau Empire, Thousand Suns, and the Appendix. So this is all the supplementary content that you can use in the games of Warhammer 40,000, so battlefield terrain, battle zones, ladder campaigns, upgraded points values, battle forged armies. So battlefield terrain, you've got the Deathwell Forests, Eldritch Ruin, and then you've got the Deathwell Forests individually, all individually. The Sector Mechanicus, so moving on from Armageddon Shadow War, and the Hemotrope Reactors, the Thermic Plasma Regulators, which only did just come out actually, along with the Thermic Plasma Conduits. They only came out like a month ago, I think, if that. Battlezone Industrial Worlds, moving on with the Shadow War theme, Battlezone Empiric Storms. Wow. Ladder campaigns, Ladder of Command. Updated points values, December 2017. So I'll go through these in the review, but pretty much from what I've read, a lot has gone up. Rebute Gilliman is 385 points, for instance. The Stormraven gunship is 192. Points per model for Terminators are 41. I think in the review I'll have a look at the codexes that are out, and I'll just compare them. I think a few of these, like Deathwatch and Dark Eldar and Orcs and things, are just tweaks and things from their indexes that were out. Updated points values from Forge World. This is interesting. So that's really cool that they've added this in here. I would never have known. Again, I can go through all those compared to the indexes, because I do have those indexes at least, so I can go through that. The Tyranids, the Barbed Herodule, 420 points, the Biotitan 2000, Azurani, Titan Legions, look at this. So Warlord Battle Titan is now 6,000 points. I'm sure it was 4,000, I'm sure, or even 3,000. May have even been 3,000 points, but 6,000 points. And the Porphyrion, I'm sure that was a little bit less than that. But there you go. So yeah, all the updated points values in the back there. Battle Forged Armies, so it gives you a detachment roster. There you go. So you can photocopy that. Permission to photocopy for personal use only, look. And detachment roster. And there you go, one of these as well for open play. So that's pretty cool. Power level 30. So yeah, that is the chapter approved. So this isn't a review, this is just the first look, but just from this, I will say that it's chock full. You know, you've got 130 pages there almost. You've got the updated points values, you've got all the different missions, you've got different terrain. They could have just done tweaks and things in here, but they haven't. They've gone above and beyond. I can't think of anything else that they could or should have put in here. They've even given you some faction rules as well, ready for your new Codex next year. And they've gone through objective markers, more missions. They've even given you a load of data sheets for some of the scenery, the Land Raiders stuff, more missions for Planet Strike with narrative play, and also even some missions for apocalyptic battles too. Can't think of anything else that they could have put in here. The only downside obviously is for me, nitpicking, is it's not in hardback, because I would have liked it to be in hardback, and then I could just set a page open and just read it and, you know, spend some time with the book. And I hope they do that next year. What do you guys think? Please do put it down in the comments below. Again, this is just a first look. The review will be longer than this video, and I'll go into it in a lot more depth and look at all the points values compared to, you know, all the new codexes that have come out so far. I think it's a great idea. I think once a year having this chapter approved is definitely great, especially for people that play, you know, every week. If you don't play every week and you play like once a month, not really worth it. But I bought this for the channel and to give you guys a first look, so that you get to see what's in the book and form your own opinions and decisions. As always, that's the whole point of my videos. Anyway, thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor protects.